Welcome back to The Deep Dive, the show where we take the overwhelming stack of information and really just distill it down to the essential, actionable knowledge you need to stay ahead.
And today, we are diving deep.
We're getting into the visual revolution that is happening, well, right now. AI image generation. And this isn't future tech anymore, is it? It's the present reality of content creation.
It's a very fast-moving reality at that. I mean, we are living in a moment where literally billions of images are being generated every single day.
Billions? That's hard to even comprehend.
It is. And what started as this, fringe curiosity has really rapidly matured into a whole suite of sophisticated tools built for professional workflows.
Right, we're talking marketing pipelines, product prototyping, even internal communications in HR.
All of it.
And I think that shift from just a curiosity to a real necessity is so critical. The conversations about whether AI can make art, they feel like they're over.
They are.
Now, for professionals, the conversation is intensely practical. It's how do I make a commercially safe, on-brand graphic with perfect text that integrates, seamlessly into my existing software?
And that's our mission today. Following the DataZen AI podcast mandate, we want to cut through all that noise and give you the definitive guide.
We want to make sure that whether you are a writer who needs an illustration, a marketer designing a social campaign, or, a legal counsel assessing risk,
that you understand the leading specialized models, you master the crucial language of the prompt, and I think most importantly, you know how to navigate that critical commercial and legal landscape to use these tools safely and effectively. We're really moving from novelty to definitive utility, and that just requires a more comprehensive knowledge.
So our goal is for you to leave this deep dive feeling fluent and confident in this visual AI landscape, ready to implement these tools strategically. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack this ecosystem first, because I think a lot of people still carry that old definition of AI art, this idea that there's one big model just churning everything out.
That's a really common misconception. To put it simply, AI image generation is just the conversion of descriptive text, what we call a prompt into a unique visual asset.
And that's done using generative AI,
Yeah.
right? Deep learning neural network.
Exactly, all trained on these colossal data sets of visual and text information. But the key evolution we've seen in, say, 2024 and 2025 is really the end of the race for the one best generator.
So we're not looking for the one champion anymore. We're building a specialized team.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. The market has completely split into specialists. You don't use one tool for every single task anymore.
Okay.
You select the tool that's optimized for your specific goal, whether that's speed, photorealism, text fidelity, or, corporate safety.
So the benchmarks for what makes a top-tier tool have just skyrocketed.
Dramatically.
So what are those new benchmarks? Because a pretty picture clearly doesn't cut it anymore for professional work.
No, it absolutely doesn't. The first feature, while it sounds standard, still needs to be exceptional, and that's photorealism and style mastery. Meaning the model can create visuals that are truly indistinguishable from a high-quality photograph. Or, on the flip side, it can perfectly mimic a specific artistic aesthetic right down to the brushstrokes or the film grain. It's about high-resolution, professional-grade output.
And I think the single biggest improvement this year, the one that solves a huge professional pain point, has to be text fidelity.
Oh, absolutely.
The sources make it clear that the era of that AI soup, the jumbled, unreadable letters and logos and posters, that's largely over for the leading models.
It is. Readable text within an image is now, it's not negotiable, especially for marketers who are designing ads or social media posts where the typography is the core message.
If a tool fails that, it's just out.
Immediately discarded for commercial use. And the second, and I think often overlooked benchmark, is prompt adherence.
Tell me more about adherence, because I know that was a major frustration point for early adopters. You'd ask for one thing and get something completely different.
Right. Prompt adherence is the AI's ability to listen to and follow all parts of a complex multi-part prompt. So if you specify a character, a specific outfit, a setting, say, standing on a rocky cliff.
And a specific camera angle, like a low-angle shot.
Exactly. Good prompt adherence means the AI doesn't mix those elements up. It doesn't place the subject in the water instead of beside the water, or forget that low-angle perspective.
Which means you're not wasting credits re-rolling generations over and over.
The better the adherence, the fewer credits you waste. It's a direct efficiency game.
And the final piece, which is crucial for any form of long-form visual storytelling or brand consistency, is character consistency.
This is a huge leap forward, a massive one. If you're generating a series of images for a campaign narrative, or a webtoon, or even an animated mascot,
You need that character to look the same in every shot.
the model must maintain the exact same look, features, even clothing details, across multiple generated images regardless of the scene change.
Which used to be almost impossible without tons of manual editing.
Or highly complex technical workarounds. Now, specific tools offer this feature just baked right in.
Okay, so with those robust standards established, let's meet the specialists.
Yeah.
We have 5 key players dominating the professional space, and each one has a distinct superpower.
That's right.
Let's begin with the artistic favorite.
That would have to be Midjourney V7. Midjourney really remains the industry standard for that artistic, cinematic, aesthetic, and just sheer visual quality.
It's the go-to for artists.
It is because it excels at things like dramatic lighting, unique compositions, and generating these realistic textures that give an image an immediate sense of polish.
I've always found Midjourney images have this kind of too perfect sheen to them, almost like movie concept art.
That's precisely why artists love it. And on top of that, it learns your stylistic tendencies over time, so it develops a personalization profile that's unique to you.
It still operates mainly through Discord, right? Though the web app is getting better.
It is, but its limitations are still centered around text generation and, historically, getting detailed control over specific element placement. It prioritizes mood and composition over, say, rigid instructions.
Okay, so if Midjourney excels at mood but struggles with text, where do professionals turn when text is the entire point of the image?
They turn to the typography champion, Ideogram 3.0. This model was essentially built from the ground up to solve the text problem.
It's good.
It is currently noted for providing the highest accuracy. We're talking a reported 90% success rate for clear, legible text integrated into logos, posters, and social media ad layouts.
90% success rate for text embedded naturally in an image is, well, it's incredible, considering where we were just 2 years ago.
It fundamentally changes what marketers can do. And Ideogram also has this feature they call style references, where you can upload an existing visual, like a brand color palette or a mood board, to ensure the look and feel is consistent.
Perfect for quick, branded promotional material.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pivot now to the tool every legal department should know about. When commercial safety is the absolute top priority, the answer seems pretty clear.
The answer is Adobe Firefly. Full stop. Firefly is the commercially safe choice.
And why is that?
Its primary strength isn't just its deep integration with the Creative Cloud ecosystem, Photoshop, Illustrator, all the apps professional designers already use, but its legal foundation.
The data it was trained on.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It is trained only on licensed content from Adobe stock and public domain material. That training model avoids all the legal ambiguity that comes with data scraped from the open internet.
Which makes it the standard for enterprise use where legal risk has to be minimized.
And that safety often extends to providing the user with IP indemnification, which we'll get into later. But it's the key differentiator for corporate adoption. It's ultimate peace of mind.
Okay, next up we have the Realism King, backed by a massive tech giant.
That would be Google Imagen 4, which you can access via Gemini.
I've seen some of the output from Imagen 4, and the photorealism is just staggering.
It excels at pure photorealism and especially fine details. It's particularly good with complex organic textures like fabric or water or animal fur.
But where does it really set itself apart?
In its multimodal and in-context editing capabilities, you can generate an image and then use simple text prompts inside the interface to edit it.
So you can just say, change the shirt color or add a stack of books to the table.
Exactly, without having to regenerate the whole image. It's a massive workflow accelerator.
That real-time conversational editing capability is a huge advantage for people who don't want to leave that chat environment.
It absolutely is. And finally, we have the open source powerhouse, the platform that offers maximum flexibility, but also requires maximum technical input.
That would be Stable Diffusion 3.5. It's the darling of developers and technical teams who want total control.
Correct. It's prized for its flexibility and customization. Because it's open source, tech-savvy users can run it efficiently on consumer hardware. They can fine-tune it with specialized custom models for really niche applications.
And integrate it into highly automated pipelines.
Right. The trade-off is the necessary technical setup, but for developers who need total control over every algorithmic aspect and who use extensions like control nets for precise layout, SD 3.5 offers the best environment.
So to wrap up this first part, the conclusion is clear. The choice is strategic. For unique art, it's Midjourney. For perfect text and a logo, it's Ideogram.
For corporate safety and integration, Firefly. And for total technical customization, Stable Diffusion.
Knowing that, the next hurdle is learning how to speak the language of these AI specialists.
Right, because now that we know which specialized tool to select, the next critical step is realizing that the AI is only as good as the instructions you give it.
If you put in a weak prompt, you get a weak image.
Exactly.
Huh.
Regardless of which top-tier model you use, this is where the human element of control mastering the prompt becomes the single most valuable skill.
I love the analogy we came across in the source material. Treat the AI like a visual chef.
Yes.
You need to give the chef the right ingredients and the recipe, not just a vague request for food.
Precisely. If you just ask for a picture of a cat, you'll get a random generic cat. But if you ask for a regal Siamese cat wearing a silk ascot, sitting on a velvet armchair in a Gothic library, illuminated by candlelight, photorealistic 8K wide-angle shot,
You get a masterpiece.
you get a masterpiece. Better ingredients. These specific structured prompts, they yield vastly superior results, and they save you time and the credits or tokens you pay for generations.
So let's break down the anatomy of an effective prompt. It's more than just a string of words. It's a deliberately structured instruction set that the AI processes in layers.
We can systematically break it down into 7 essential components. Starting simple, we define the subject, the main focus. Then you immediately add modifiers.
So descriptor traits, color, texture, material, what the subject is doing.
All of that. So
Yeah.
not just wizard, but ancient, wise, cloaked wizard casting a spell.
Got it. What's next?
Next, you set the scene with the environment or setting. This establishes the context, the background. Is it a bustling marketplace? A silent forest? It helps ground the subject visually.
Those 3 layers will get you a decent image, but the next few layers are what really elevate the output to professional, polished quality.
They add the cinematic touch. The 4th component is crucial: lighting and mood. Lighting controls the entire tone and emotion of the scene.
And you have to be specific.
You have to be specific. Golden hour, neon glow, dramatic chiaroscuro, or low-key studio light. This one component often decides whether the image looks amateur or professional.
And I'd imagine mood descriptors like mystical, eerie, epic, they work hand in hand with the lighting.
They do. Then you can add camera details to control the framing. This is where you specify the shot type, wide angle, close-up portrait, Dutch angle.
You can even specify lenses, right? Like an 85mm prime lens.
Yes, to achieve that specific professional photographic feel, that's key for getting that Midjourney aesthetic where the composition often feels incredibly intentional.
Okay, what else?
Next is the art style or medium. This directs the AI on how to render the final image. Digital painting, charcoal sketch, hyper-detail photorealistic render, vector graphic, or even in the style of a specific historical movement like Art Deco.
And finally, you stack on the quality tags.
Right, these are descriptors that just push the model toward higher fidelity. Atmospheric, cinematic, grand scale, highly detailed, 8K, ultra-detailed.
Okay, let's use that comprehensive example from our sources to see these 7 components layered together. The prompt is, an ancient wizard, wise, cloaked, casting a spell in crumbling ruins in a stormy night with eerie glow, mystical, wide-angle, low-angle shot, dark fantasy, atmospheric, epic, grand scale.
We can dissect that immediately. The subject is the ancient wizard.
The modifiers are wise, cloaked, casting a spell.
The environment is crumbling ruins, stormy night. Lighting and mood are defined by eerie glow, mystical.
Camera details are the wide-angle, low-angle shot.
The art style is dark fantasy, and the quality tags are atmospheric, epic, grand scale. By separating these ideas with commas or even explicit weighting codes in some systems, you ensure the AI doesn't ignore any part of your vision.
That structured approach is really the difference between a rough sketch and a detailed script for the AI.
It is.
So beyond that structure, what advanced techniques do expert prompters rely on to save time and credits?
I think the most essential advanced technique, especially for quality control, is the negative prompt. This is where you explicitly tell the AI what to exclude, which is vital because these models can sometimes introduce visual noise or defects based on their training data.
Like telling the chef, make this amazing dish, but absolutely no cilantro.
Exactly that. You are preemptively correcting known flaws. Common negative prompts include things like no artifacts, no extra limbs, no blurry edges, no low quality, or no watermark.
And for some models, this is a must-have.
For some models, using negative prompts consistently is the fastest way to improve your baseline quality output.
Okay, and for those seeking a truly unique look that isn't just mimicking one established style.
That's achieved through something called style chaining. This involves combining different artistic influences to create a hybrid visual output.
For example.
For example, prompting for an illustration in Pixar style with a neon cyberpunk twist. The AI blends the smooth, family-friendly aesthetics of Pixar with the dark, glowing complexity of cyberpunk, creating something genuinely new.
You can also reference specific art techniques, like cross-hatching or pointillism, to manipulate the texture.
You can?
Speaking of manipulation, we have to address the elephant in the room. Or maybe the multi-fingered nightmare on the character's hand.
Ah, yeah.
The persistent challenge of artifacts and the infamous weird hands. It's an ongoing contradiction, isn't it? That AI can create a perfect photorealistic face, but hands often look just wrong.
It is the enduring, slightly absurd flaw of generative AI. Hands are just structurally complex and highly nuanced, and the AI's understanding of their geometry often breaks down, especially in crowded compositions.
And this is more of a problem in some models than others.
It tends to be most visible in models like Midjourney, which prioritize that overall aesthetic flow over strict anatomical accuracy.
So for a professional workflow, how do you fix a six-fingered hand or a reversed thumb without abandoning the whole image and starting from scratch, or spending hours in Photoshop?
The key is post-generation editing using specific features now built into many of these tools. The technical solution involves in-painting and out-painting.
Let's start with in-painting. What's the simple analogy for that?
Think of it like a meticulous digital painter coming in to fix a small flaw on a mural. You take the generated image and use a masking tool to cover only the problematic area, that distorted hand, for instance.
Okay.
You then feed a new prompt, maybe just realistic human hand, and the model regenerates only the masked section, matching the lighting and style of the surrounding image.
Which is vastly faster than re-rolling the whole image or using traditional retouching tools.
Massively faster.
And outpainting is the opposite, I assume, for expanding the frame.
Exactly. Outpainting lets you extend the scene beyond its original borders, maintaining the style and context. This is crucial for fixing awkward crops or turning a vertical image into a horizontal banner for a website.
And tools like Stable Diffusion have made this pretty efficient.
Especially with interfaces like Focus, yes, it's become very efficient.
I also heard about a clever prompting trick to sometimes fix the hands automatically.
Yes, it's a creative workaround a lot of users have discovered. If you mask the bad hand and prompt with the name of the object behind the hand, so if the hand is near a bookshelf, you prompt bookshelf.
Oh, okay.
It helps the model correctly remove the error and regenerate that background element, which you can then refine with a more detailed prompt. This focus on manipulating specific regions of the image rather than the whole thing is really a hallmark of modern, efficient AI workflows.
Okay, let's move past the technical skills and anchor this technology to its core business value proposition: professional use, efficiency, and speed across these diverse non-technical sectors.
This is where the cost-benefit analysis really kicks in. AI is fundamentally changing the economics of creating visual content.
It's accelerating processes and cutting costs associated with stock photography, licensing, hours of manual design.
And the data supports this acceleration. We're seeing reports that teams are achieving 3 to 5 times faster design iteration and prototyping speeds just by integrating these AI tools.
3 to 5 times, that's huge.
Imagine a marketing team that used to spend half a day mocking up 5 design concepts. They can now generate 20 concepts in under an hour. That time saving is a massive competitive advantage.
Let's break this down by industry then, starting with the content generators, marketing, and communications teams.
Marketers are definitely the most strategic users of these specialized tools. They rely heavily on Ideogram for social media ads and digital posters, where that perfect text fidelity is paramount.
And for more general content.
They're using integrated tools like Canva AI or StockMG.ai for generating blog illustrations, fast promotional banners, and quick visuals that maintain brand guidelines.
What about the need for character consistency in long-running campaigns?
That's where features like Midjourney V7's CREF parameter are essential. That stands for character reference.
So if you have a specific brand mascot or a consistent model for a series of ads.
The CREF parameter allows the model to reference the original image of that character and maintain their identity, their look, their clothing across multiple new scenes and actions.
It eliminates the headache of manually redrawing or adjusting a character, for every single ad variant.
It does.
Okay, shifting to designers and developers, the people actually building products and interfaces, what are their integrated workflows looking like?
For design professionals who are focused on speed and iteration, that integration is everything. They're using tools like Adobe Firefly's Generative Fill directly inside Photoshop.
Generative fill.
It allows them to expand backgrounds non-destructively, remove objects, or fill selected areas with hyper-realistic AI content. It saves hours on matte painting or traditional photo manipulation.
And for UI/UX designers who are prototyping apps.
They are using specialized plugins integrated directly into platforms like Figma. Plugins that use Daily, Recraft V3, or Stable Diffusion are used to quickly generate realistic backgrounds for app screens, or detailed scalable vector graphics, SVGs, and visual mockups.
And you mentioned Recraft V3 specifically.
Yes, Recraft V3 stands out because it can generate vector graphics that can be scaled infinitely without any loss of quality, which is, crucial for modern digital design.
Okay, that addresses the visual creatives. But what about writers and storytellers? Comic artists, novelists, bloggers, trying to illustrate complex concepts.
For long-form narrative, specialized tools have emerged to address that consistency issue we talked about.
Right.
Take Comico AI, for instance, which is tailored specifically for webtoons and comics. It has an infinite canvas and, crucially, a dedicated, consistent character engine.
So a storyteller can define a character once.
And Comico AI ensures that characters' look and appearance are reliably maintained across hundreds of panels and scenes. It streamlines the entire storyboarding and visual development process.
And what about the often overlooked area of internal communications, like HR and internal training? Visual clarity and engagement are huge there.
Absolutely. HR and internal comms teams really benefit from the prompt fidelity offered by tools like Daily 3. They use these tools to generate technical diagrams, clear flowcharts, visually compelling materials for complex training modules, or even engaging internal comics that illustrate new policies or campaigns. They need accuracy and the ability to visualize abstract concepts clearly, and these prompt-adherent tools excel at that.
This whole movement towards specialization and integration brings us to a strategic question. How does an organization decide where to invest? Is it the all-in-one ecosystem or the open and flexible approach?
That is the core workflow dilemma today, and it's a decision based entirely on your risk tolerance and your technical infrastructure.
Let's start with the all-in-one ecosystems.
These are your Adobe Firefly, or the tools integrated within GPT-4o. They offer maximum convenience, seamless integration into established software, and, crucially, legal peace of mind.
The convenience is clear, but you do pay the price of being locked into that platform's capabilities and subscription structure.
Correct. You gain ease of use and safety, but you sacrifice that ultimate control. The alternative is the open and flexible toolkit, which is dominated by Stable Diffusion 3.5.
This approach gives you total customization.
Total customization, the ability to run models locally on your own hardware, and the freedom to integrate with specialized extensions like control nets for precision layout control.
But the barrier to entry is higher for Stable Diffusion, isn't it? It's not just plug and play.
Much higher. It requires significant technical expertise. You need to know how to install the web interface, manage custom models, and potentially invest in dedicated hardware if you want fast local generations.
So the technical setup alone can be time-consuming.
Right. The strategic decision really boils down to this. Do you prioritize seamless, legally safe integration, which favors Firefly, or do you prioritize maximum technically challenging customization, which favors Stable Diffusion?
And what are you seeing?
Most large enterprises are currently leaning very heavily toward the safe, integrated route.
We've now reached what is probably the most crucial segment for any professional listener.
Yeah.
The legal and commercial landscape. Because the moment you attach an AI-generated image to your brand, to your packaging, or to your high-stakes marketing campaign, you assume legal risk.
The risk profile is steep. And the biggest point of confusion we have to address is that core question. Are AI-generated images copyright-free?
And the answer is complicated.
It's nuanced, it's complex, and it requires some careful explanation.
Okay, let's unpack the legal consensus regarding copyright, at least in the United States.
The current legal consensus from the U.S. Copyright Office is that works created solely by a machine, without substantial human authorship or intervention, are generally not eligible for U.S. copyright protection.
So the AI can't hold the copyright.
Right. And if the human input was just a text prompt and then selecting the best of 4 options, that is usually deemed insufficient creative input to secure ownership.
So if I prompt Midjourney to create a hyper-realistic picture of a golden retriever on a beach, I don't exclusively own that image. and anyone else could potentially use it without my permission.
That is essentially correct. The image would reside in the public domain, or at least in a legal gray zone where you lack exclusive rights. This lack of clear, exclusive ownership is a foundational issue when it comes to brand assets.
At what point does the human input become substantial enough to merit copyright, making it truly yours?
That is the gray zone that the courts are still defining. Copyright can apply if the human meaningfully transforms the AI output.
What does that mean, meaningfully transforms?
It might involve extensive post-processing, using the AI output as a single layer in a complex collage, performing heavy manual retouching and alteration, or integrating human-drawn elements. The key is demonstrable creative manipulation that changes the original output significantly.
So just picking the best one isn't enough.
Almost certainly not enough.
This complexity just compounds when we move into commercial use and licensing. What are the two main risks professionals are facing here?
Risk number one is simple: failing to check the specific terms of service, TOS. Every single generator, DALL-E, Midjourney, ideogram has different rules.
And while many allow commercial use in ads,
they often impose severe restrictions on reselling the output as standalone stock photos or bundles. You can use the image in your product packaging, but you cannot sell the unedited image itself as a stock asset. You have to know your specific usage rights.
Okay, that's risk one. And risk number two, which seems like the bigger danger, stems from the training data itself.
This is the massive risk of IP infringement, and that covers both copyright and trademark law. Since these AI models are trained on gigantic data sets scraped indiscriminately from the internet,
the generated content might unknowingly incorporate protected intellectual property.
Exactly. A specific brand logo, a trademarked character design, or the likeness of a copyrighted photograph.
So even if the image itself lacks copyright protection, it can still infringe upon someone else's protected trademark.
Precisely. If you are a marketer using a Midjourney image for an ad campaign, and that image unknowingly contains a graphical element that looks too similar to a competitor's trademarked logo, the legal challenge is launched against you.
And that's a crucial distinction. The end user, the business, the marketer, is the one carrying the legal responsibility.
Absolutely. The end user carries the entire legal responsibility and the risk of litigation and damages. The AI platform is typically protected by its own TOS.
Which is why businesses can't afford to rely on tools with murky training data for high-stakes, consumer-facing projects.
This liability exposure is driving corporate spending towards safer alternatives.
So let's talk mitigation. How do businesses achieve absolute legal peace of mind, especially for critical mass-market projects?
The safest strategy involves seeking IP indemnification. And here we need to highlight Adobe Firefly again as the clear industry leader for corporate safety.
Because its training data is clean.
It's proprietary and clean, exclusively licensed content and public domain material. Because of that, Adobe is confident enough to offer IP indemnification on its qualifying enterprise plans.
And for those unfamiliar with the legal term, what does IP indemnification mean practically for a professional?
It's essentially a legal guarantee that provides true peace of mind. It means that if your company uses a Firefly-generated image commercially and a third party sues you claiming that content infringes on their copyright or trademark, Adobe steps in.
So Adobe takes on the legal liability.
And the financial responsibility for the damages and legal fees. It is the gold standard for enterprise risk management in this space. Without indemnification, that liability rests entirely on the company using the visual.
Beyond the legal risks, the professional environment also demands adherence to strong ethical and transparency standards.
Transparency is foundational. It has to be standard practice to always disclose when visuals are AI generated. This builds trust with your audience and mitigates the risk of propagating misleading or deceptive imagery.
Which is particularly relevant in news and information.
It is, and we see organizations like the Associated Press setting strict, immediate standards for journalists in particular.
They've established clear red lines.
Yes. AP standards dictate that journalists must never use generative AI to alter the fundamental elements of news photos, video, or audio. And if an AI-generated illustration is used in a news story, it must be clearly and unambiguously labeled in the caption.
And they're also instructed to not transmit any AI-generated images they suspect are false.
Right, it's an immediate check on misinformation.
And this fight against deepfakes and misinformation is being technologically supported by the platforms themselves, right?
Yes, through digital watermarking. Platforms are now embedding clear, though often invisible, cryptographic markers into the generated images.
Which tools are doing this?
Tools like Google Imagen 4 and Stable Diffusion 3 are using this technology. This watermarking aids in traceability, making it easier to authenticate content and flag visuals that have been manipulated or generated by AI. It's another layer of defense.
And finally, there's the ethical duty related to avoiding bias and harmful stereotypes.
Platforms are actively addressing this during the model training itself. Advanced platforms like Adobe Firefly are designed with proactive guardrails engineered to mitigate bias and harmful stereotypes in their outputs,
So they're trying to make the models more inclusive and representative.
which reduces the risk of generating culturally inappropriate or discriminatory content for global campaigns. It's a reflection of corporate responsibility being baked right into the product design.
Okay, we've established the ecosystem, the prompting skills, and the critical legal guardrails. Let's synthesize all of this into a clear action plan for choosing the right tool based on professional needs.
It's the final strategic summary. We need to match the specific job requirement to the specialist tool.
So let's run through them.
If you are an artist, a creative, or conceptual designer prioritizing unique style, cinematic aesthetic, and visual punch, your default is Midjourney V7.
And if you're a marketer, an advertiser, or a content creator where the job requires perfect, readable text in a logo or graphic.
Ideogram 3.0 is your champion, no question.
And for any large enterprise, commercial project, or regulated industry where legal safety, corporate integration, and IP risk mitigation are paramount.
Adobe Firefly is the non-negotiable choice because of the protection offered by that IP indemnification.
And for the technical teams, the developers or small studios that require maximum technical customization and the ability to run models locally.
Stable Diffusion 3.5 is your open source powerhouse. It offers total flexibility, ControlNet functionality for precise layout, and local control.
And for the everyday user or someone just needing conversational refinement and fast prototyping via chat.
DLA3 access through GPT-4o remains the most robust and user-friendly generalist tool out there.
That provides a really clear strategic map. Now, let's turn this entire deep dive into 3 final actionable questions for you, the learner, to carry forward.
I think these 3 questions summarize the most valuable takeaways from our discussion. So first, what makes a perfect image prompt?
And the answer there is structure and control. A perfect prompt requires that clear, layered structure, subject, modifiers, environment, lighting, art style. But critically, it demands proactive quality control through the consistent use of negative prompts to eliminate common artifacts and drive up the baseline quality of your output.
Okay, second question. Is it safe to use AI images for commercial projects?
This one is so vital for your company's bottom line and liability. The safety level is entirely non-uniform. The answer has to focus on the crucial difference between a standard commercial license, which most models offer, but leaves you fully exposed to infringement risk.
And tools offering the gold standard of IP indemnification, like Adobe Firefly, which transfers that legal liability away from your company.
Without that guarantee, your legal team must vet the image rigorously.
And finally, a slightly more philosophical but entirely practical question for the future of creative work. Can AI truly replace a designer's creativity?
Based on everything we've seen, workflow, technical constraints, legal requirements, the answer is no. AI cannot replace the designer's core creativity, strategy, or judgment.
It's a tool.
It's a sophisticated tool that accelerates design iteration by 3 to 5 times, making the designer faster and more productive. But the human is still required for the creative vision, the ethical judgment, the choice of style chaining, the technical fixing of artifacts via in-painting.
And the essential post-generation refinement that secures quality and legal viability.
Exactly.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to contemplate as you start incorporating these tools into your work.
Okay.
Given the current legal landscape, where AI-generated images without substantial human intervention are not eligible for U.S. copyright protection, meaning you can't exclusively own them, how will creators and brands ensure that their fastest, most effective AI-generated brand assets also contain enough demonstrable, meaningful human input to secure the essential legal ownership they need for their long-term brand identity and intellectual property portfolio?
That intersection of speed, law, and creative input that defines the professional landscape moving forward. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI image generation.
We hope this comprehensive guide helped you navigate the waters of AI image generation safely and effectively, providing the knowledge you need to make strategic professional decisions.
Don't forget, you can subscribe to the DataZen AI podcast on all popular platforms. We welcome your feedback and topic suggestions on the episode page, where you will also find all the sources and useful links we discussed today.
That includes details on specific features like Midjourney's CREF and Adobe's indemnification policy.
And for more resources, meetups, and articles related to AI from the DataZen community, be sure to visit datazen.top.
Until next time.
Keep creating and stay informed.